Hey there, J3 here and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the first game mechanic you can use to make playing the game of wealth more interesting. Note that depending on when you're watching this video, some of the examples below might be outdated already, like from 2012, but I believe they can illustrate the concepts very well and have counterparts in the present day too.
With that, let's begin. Game mechanic number 1, level progression. The first game mechanic is pretty simple, and this mechanic has 3 key elements. Number 1, the player can see the objective. Number 2, the objective is broken down into small, achievable tasks. Number 3, a visible progress meter.
How does this work in games? Well, in many games, tasks are presented in the following formula. Do blank for X number of times. Then it shows you how far along you are in meeting that objective. For example, this is a quest from a game called World of Warcraft, where you are an adventurer.
Kill 7 young night sabers and 4 young thistlebores, whatever those are. And at the bottom, you have the progress meter. It says here that it's 1 out of 7 and 1 out of 4 completed. Okay, in this other game, this is Farmville, you have plant 20 crops, harvest 20 crops, buy 3 cows. Then, to the side, you can see your progress. This way of presenting tasks is very common in games. And it's interesting to note that once players have been given these tasks, they just do it. They don't ask why, but just do it. Now, in the real world, this way of presenting tasks is more common in online applications. For instance, in LinkedIn, a social networking site for professionals, when you create an account, you're presented with simple tasks and your progress is shown to you. In this case, it's kind of bad since the progress meter is not that visible. But one excellent example here is with Starbucks. Think of the way on how you can get a Starbucks planner. The player, meaning we, the consumers, are given an empty card without any stickers. The player then has to buy coffee in order to earn stickers. For each beverage you buy, you get 1 sticker. In 2012, you had to accumulate 17 stickers. Then when you finally complete all 17 stickers, you get the planner. So, the objective is to get that planner. The breakdown into simple tasks would be to buy coffee 17 times in order to get 17 stickers. For the visible progress bar, well, you put the stickers in the card every time you buy. It's amazing how this program modifies our behavior because that card gives you an excuse to actually spend more money. On a day when you wouldn't normally buy coffee, you'd end up doing so anyway just to complete that card and get a planner. What's in it for them? Well, assuming that one drink would cost around 120 pesos. So, 17 times 120, that's 2,040 pesos. Imagine how lame the planner would be if Starbucks didn't use the level progression mechanic. Instead of having to accumulate 17 stickers, the planner campaign would just read, accumulate 2,040 pesos worth of receipts and get this planner free. That program would be extremely ineffective because it's not broken down step by step. Also, you don't get to have that experience of putting in the stickers, which is essentially moving that progress bar along. So, actually, you can see that ineffective form of marketing already in PowerBooks and then Fully Booked because they are offering their Power Card or Fully Booked card if you are able to accumulate some thousands of pesos in receipts. And me being a frequent buyer of books, it was extremely hard to accumulate that amount. Not because I wasn't buying enough, but because I lost my receipts and hindi mo naman laging nadadala. It didn't have a system of having a visible progress meter. So I'm sure if they made that into, collecting stamps or stickers as well, more people would be getting their PowerBooks and Fully Booked cards. With that, let's move on to you. I have 2 questions to ask you. 1. What other specific examples can you think of on how companies are using the level progression mechanic to get you to buy more stuff from them? And number 2, how can you use the level progression mechanic to help you achieve your financial goals? Remember the 3 parts of level progression. Number 1, having a clear objective. Number 2, it's broken down into small achievable steps. Number 3, you have a visible progress tracker. So pause the video for a moment and try to answer these 2 questions. Okay? Now, here are my suggestions on how to use level progression in achieving your goals. Let's say you want to save 100,000 pesos for your emergency fund. Well, that's already the objective. Save 100,000 pesos. Next component of the level progression mechanic is to break the goal down to easy and achievable steps. Take note here, saving 100,000 pesos is hard because it's such a huge number. But if you write it down as save 10,000 pesos 10 times, well, it seems more doable. If 10,000 pesos seems unachievable, then set a smaller goal like saving 5,000 pesos 20 times. Mas kaya na, di ba? Once you have the big goal broken down into simple steps, the final part of the level progression mechanic is to have a visible progress tracker. So, with our goal of saving 5,000 pesos 20 times, you can do something that looks like this. The big goal is at the top, then we have 20 blank squares here at the bottom, each one representing 5,000 pesos. And every time you set aside 5,000 pesos in your bank account, you just mark the square. When you're done filling out all the boxes, then it means you have already reached your goal. This tracking sheet can be kept in a private folder or your wallet, wherever it's convenient for you. Dapat lang ilagay ito kung saan madalas mong makikita. Similarly, you can do this for paying debts or building up other funds for the future. So next example. How about for the qualitative to-do lists, like for example, starting a new business? The principles of level progression still apply. Have a clear objective, break it down into smaller tasks, and have a visible progress bar. So for instance, you have a goal of starting up a new business but you don't have a clue how to start. Well, the first step is always learning about how to start a business. So your breakdown of tasks could look like this. Number 1, read 5 articles on how to start a business on the internet. Simple enough? Yes. Search for 3 books about entrepreneurship on the internet. Next task, buy 1 book. Then after that, read the book for 30 minutes, 30 times. Does it sound simple? Well, all of the tasks I just named were simple. With that, basically, the level progression mechanic is just a well-made to-do list or a checklist. At work, I know that you already do this. But when it comes to money, for some reason, we often miss out on making these kinds of lists. So, for instance, you have a task of getting out of debt, but we leave it at that. There's no breakdown into small, simple, achievable steps, and there's no visible progress list. So, we end up being overwhelmed by the big goal. So, in effect, we don't progress. So, for your financial goals, apply the level progression mechanic. Be clear in your goal, break it down into simple, achievable steps, then have a progress meter for it. Right now, this may sound just like a nice idea, but if you really apply it, you'll be surprised at how fast you actually move towards your goals.